We've all been there. We take like a 2-hour break from our mad productivity and we go play games for 2 hours or watch Netflix or catch a movie or go out and jog or whatever it is that we do to escape from our otherwise productive things that we would be doing every day. And then after that 2-hour break is up, we find our minds just spiraling us into this pit of despair and productivity shaming.
I'm a failure. A failure!
And it just doesn't make any sense. It's like all work and no play does in fact make us all very dull boys. So why is it that when we do break away from our productive pursuits and take that much needed break, our mind is absolutely blistering and punishing us for it? And if we can be consciously aware of this, why is it that we continue to allow our mind to play this game with us and make us feel so bad for taking our much needed breaks? Well, just a couple nights ago, I was suffering from the same productivity shaming, and I think I finally cracked the code on how to get my mind back on track and be like, hey, leave me alone, brain.
Leave me alone!
I know what I'm doing, I needed that break, and now I'm getting back to it. You see, it's pretty simple. Being able to pull yourself from that productivity shaming really relies pretty heavily on just being able to front load your productivity. And what does that mean? Well, simply put, front-loading your productivity means you're going to be as productive as you humanly possibly can as early on in your day as possible as well. If you front-load that productivity, then you're able to take more breaks later on in the day and not feel so terrible about it. I've got a perfect story from just a few nights ago about this epiphany and how it came to me and how I was able to realize the importance of front-loading productivity. You see, I have been following this local wrestling show now since May of this year. I've always been a huge professional wrestling fan, and I've always thought it would be really cool if we had a local league here nearest to my house so I could go to events. Well, come May, thanks to some brilliant Instagram advertising, I discovered that there is in fact such a league. And so I've been making it a habit to go out there and see the shows and enjoy the social life of it, if you will. I'm a pretty indoor person. All of my hobbies are sedentary. I sit around all day and I write books, or I work on my cartoons, or I work on the videos that you're watching here, and I don't get out of the house quite as often as I'd like.
Oh, the light! That really burns me up.
And so that has been a simple kind of easy way for me to get out, go see the world, and go do something, even if just one day out of the month or whatever. And so there was this wrestling event coming up. It was on Saturday, October 5th. I think it was the 5th. And I had been anticipating going for a very long time. When they first announced the event, they said it was in this city that I was like, oh, I wonder how far that is. Generally speaking, I only travel about an hour away from home. Any more than that, it seems like, is a bit excessive to just drive, go to a 2-hour show and come back, especially if I'm driving 2 hours. And so then the morning of the 5th comes around, I'm planning out my day, and I'm like, hey, I need to look up directions so I know roughly where I'm going. I mean, we all are modern people of this modern world, and we use GPS whenever we're going anywhere, but I still like to look at the route ahead of time, so I'm like, okay, this is whereabouts I'm going to be headed. So I fire up the old GPS, I'm scrolling through, I type in the address, and it flashes to me that the event is an hour and 45 minutes away. And I'm like, whoo, pump the brakes there. That's significantly further than I would normally travel for an event like this. But at the same time, I took every Friday and every Monday off in October, and so I have time, if I wanted to and or needed to be able to have extra time off to make up for the time that I would be losing if I were to go to this event that's 2 hours away, because that would pretty much consume the entirety of my evening at that point. But I still wasn't completely convinced. I wanted to go, but I was like, am I really going to drive that far for it? And I was like, yeah, I don't know. And at this time, it was probably 6:30 in the morning or so. I'd woken up fairly early that day. And so I was like, you know what? I am going to just do some chores. the kitchen's a mess, the laundry's piling up. Let me just do some chores. And as I do the chores, I will think about what I'm going to do with this event. Am I going to go to it? Am I not going to go to it? Those were the two choices that I was weighing upon myself. And so I did my chores, cleaned up the kitchen, vacuumed, did the laundry, all that fun adulting that we just love doing. And it was probably close to noon or so by the time that all flattened out. And I was like, okay, so this thing's an hour and 45 minutes away. The event starts at 6. If I want to get there, I should leave by like 4:30 at the latest. But I like to be habitually early. I'm one of those people. So I really wanted to leave the house by like 3:30, 4 o'clock. And so I was like, okay, well, I still hadn't decided. All my chores were done. It had taken me several hours to knock out all those chores, and I still hadn't made a clear decision as to what I was going to do. And so I was like, okay, well, I guess what I will do is I'm going to eat some food because I'm hungry and I don't want to travel on an empty stomach. And I was like, I will also take a nap because it's an hour and 45 minutes away. The event will probably be 3 hours, so it's like 9 or 10 o'clock by the time it gets out. I'm old and I get tired by 10:30 every night, and so I don't want to be falling asleep while I'm driving home. So let me go ahead and take a nap at like 2 o'clock, and then I will wake up, and I guess we're doing the thing. I will just drive to the event, and that'll be my afternoon. And so from 12 to 3, which was the designated time I'd given myself before I was going to go take a nap, I decided I was going to eat some food, knock that out. That was really easy. Just reheated some leftover beef pot pie that I made. And then I sat down and I worked on some of my creative stuff. I was like, you know what? I banged out all my chores this morning. Why not bang out some creative stuff as well? Got some editing done on the video I was working on at the time. I got some writing done on my novel that I hadn't honestly touched in a very long time, which I needed to get kind of back in the groove of that. So it felt good to get back in the groove of that. And so yeah, knocked out some solid productivity, got some good stuff knocked off my to-do list. And so then from there, 3 o'clock rolls around, I take my nap, I wake up, unfortunately, after my alarm had gone off. My alarm had gone off, but I didn't hear it. It was as if it didn't go off at all, and it's now 4:30. And I'm like, oh crap. Like, it's make it or break it time at this point, dude. Like, you still haven't really convinced yourself you're going to go to this show or not. But if you don't go now, like right now, you're going to be late. And I don't like being late. And so then I'm mulling it over in my head. And I've mostly already talked myself out of it, having just woken up at 4:30. And I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to go. I'm not going to go. I'm going to have to miss this one. And that's just what is going to happen tonight. And so what I do instead is I hit up one of my buddies on Xbox and we watch some horror movies. We play some horror related games because it's spooky month and that's what we do in spooky month. Now I probably spent a good 4 to 5 hours just gaming and having a good time with this guy. A lot longer than I normally would allow myself for unproductive time like that. But it felt pretty good. But of course, like, towards the middle, like I hung out with this person for like 5 hours, but 3 hours or maybe even 2 hours into this, here comes my brain mind spiral telling me about how much of an unproductive, shameful slob I am.
I'm a failure. A failure!
For having played video games this long, and I didn't even go out and socialize into the world and get out of the house this weekend like I promised myself that I would more frequently. And I was like, hey, you know what, brain? Pump the brakes, because like, let's back this bus up a little bit. What did we do this morning? We spent 4 hours on chores. We cleaned the kitchen, we cleaned the dishes, we did the laundry, we vacuumed the floor. That was a lot of work that I just pumped out this morning. And then I was like, still don't know if I'm going to that wrestling event. So what did I do to pass the time? I worked on videos. I edited a video. I worked on this book that I hadn't touched in a long time. 3 hours of very productive things again. And so then here I am, waking up at 4:30, playing some games for a long time, and my brain decides that it's got something to say about that. And I'm like, you know what? No, like, I'm not going to take this. I am not going to let my own brain belittle me and my productivity because I spent a little bit of time playing video games today instead of going out or instead of going to do stuff or socialize or see the world. And like, heck, I did stuff today. I did chores. I did my editing. Why is my brain so content and so hell-bent on making me feel terrible for doing the things that I enjoy.
A failure.
And after I had that small, short mental breakdown with myself, I was able to actually reset. Like, I felt good about myself. I no longer had that, like, end of day drudge, you know, like that Saturday afternoon drudge right before you got to go back to work, and you're looking back on your weekend, you're like, what the heck did I do with myself today? And I was like, you know what? No, you had a very successful, like, 6 hours of work that you knocked out this morning. You got all your stuff done. Your house is cleaner than it's ever been. Got a whole video done. You're ahead of schedule on your videos. Got a chapter knocked out in your new novel. Like, you should be very satisfied and very happy with what you got done today. And you were allowed to play video games with your friend for 5 hours. You're allowed to watch a movie with your friend for a couple of hours. You're allowed to do these things because I front-loaded my productivity. And it all comes back to that. Because if you procrastinate and you do the fun stuff first, the stuff that you want to do, you do that first, then you keep pushing off the stuff that you don't want to do, and eventually it never gets done. And then when your brain comes a-knocking late on a Sunday afternoon, because you know it's going to do that, when it comes a-knocking, it actually has a leg to stand on, because it's like, hey, you big loser, you didn't do anything today. And you're like, oh, I guess I didn't do anything. I had planned to getting around to that, and that just didn't happen. I'd planned to getting around to that too, and that also didn't happen. So I can't stress enough. Front load your productivity. Do not procrastinate the tasks. Like, that's an easy low-hanging fruit. Everybody's like, hey, procrastination's bad. We all know that, but it's easier said than done, just about everything. If it was easy to do, then there wouldn't be millions and miles worth of videos out there about how to stop procrastinating. When you wake up for the day, you're fresh for the day. And that is when you knock out the crap that you don't want to do, because you'll be the least excited to do it, but you'll have the most energy to knock it out. And it doesn't matter when you wake up. You don't have to be part of the 5 a.m. club. You don't have to be part of the midnight club. You don't have to be part of whatever early or late riser club you're a part of. Wake up when you wake up for the day. That is when you are the freshest, and knock out those tasks. I worked the evening shift for years at my job, and I actually quite enjoyed it, because I would wake up fresh for the day, do all the stuff that I wanted to do for myself, and then I would go to work after having worked at home or done whatever for myself for several hours, and I would be exhausted from my own stuff and the stuff that I wanted to do, rather than coming home from work exhausted and trying to force myself to do the things that I like. So there's absolutely so much value in front loading your productivity, especially if the productive stuff isn't the stuff that you love doing. Like, I don't love editing videos. I like making the videos. I like sharing the content. But as far as, like, there's a multi-step process here to, like, sharing this content out to you. And the part of that process that I like the least is the editing, by far. But that's just, that's part of the beast. That's part of the things that I got to do. So when I wake up every Sunday morning, I finish the editing on whatever video I'm editing right now. Right off the bat, knock out that productivity. Front load your productivity. I cannot say it enough. If you do the stuff that you don't like or that you're not looking forward to right when you wake up, then you'll be so much better and so much productive for it in the long run, because you don't have to convince yourself to play video games 6 hours down the road when you're done with chores. You've got nothing else to do. So, like, go play the game. Go out and hang out with your friends. Go do the thing that you want to do. It's fine. You gave yourself permission by knocking out the stuff that you needed to do today. But if you start your day out with the fun stuff, you will end your day out with the fun stuff, and there'll be nothing else in between. So this has been the video today. Front load your productivity, guys. Please go out there, and if you learn nothing, like, just knock out the ugly, dumb stuff in the bare beginnings of your day. That's just really all it comes down to. So per the usual, my books are available on Amazon. I've got my own animation here on YouTube. Got tons more content on this channel for you if you're digging what I say here. If you check any of that out, that would be absolutely delicious. Thank you, and I'll catch you on the next one.